Um, Next question is, how does the IRS handle tax debt, and what options are available for taxpayers struggling to pay?
Yeah. How do they handle debts? They want you to pay them. That's
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, it is more complex than that, but that's the fundamental thing. So if you owe a tax bill, let's just stick with the IRS because it's just the one instead of the 50 different states. If you owe money to the IRS, they want their money. And let's also assume, for the sake of this discussion, that it is the correctly calculated tax. If something was filed wrong or any number of scenarios that can be fixed, then fix it and the problem goes away. On the other hand, if you file something and you do owe money and that's just how the cookie crumbles, then you have options. Option one, if the debt is less than $50,000, you can just get on an automatic payment plan where they'll structure it over 6 years, and it doesn't save any interest, but it does save the hassle. You won't get letters or anything like that. And if you set up one of these payment plans, then you can, and you're up to date with it, then your future tax returns, if you get a refund in that future year, they will actually send you the refund. If you have a debt and you have not paid it and you're not on a payment plan and you get a refund in a future year, they will take that refund and apply it to that older year. So that's option number one. Options number 2 and 3 are the stuff you hear on TV and on radio commercials and stuff. Whereas if you owe at least $10,000, blah, blah, blah. So what those people do is they submit what they call offers in compromise or currently non-collectible applications. If you have a debt and you can prove to the IRS that you cannot pay it, then they can potentially give you a break. Basically, the application process between those two things is very similar. Effectively, you list out all your assets and they do some modifications of the assets based on, they'll leave you $1,000 in your bank account. If you're selling a house, they'll leave you 20% equity because there's selling costs and all this kind of stuff. And if at the end of those calculations, plus whatever employment that you have and expenses for normal cost of living with your given family size, it's a whole thing to do. But if you go through that whole exercise and there's a form, something OIC, can't remember the number of the form, but there's a form. And if you go through all that and the number it comes to is less than the amount that you owe, then you submit that and say, hey, can I pay this lesser amount? And if everything checks out, then they can grant you that and you can pay less. For currently non-collectible status, the process is effectively the same, but the number you come to at the end is zero. I got nothing. I don't have any assets. I don't have any income. I don't have any money in the bank. So I can't pay anything. And they will put you on a currently non-collectible status. Currently is an operative word there because if circumstances change, they will reopen your case. So you got to stay that way. Some people try to stay that way for 10 years to run out the statute of limitations. And then after that, then they can apply an affirmative defense saying that, hey, statute of limitations has passed. You can no longer collect this from me. IRS is okay. And then they can start making money again. It's a miserable way to go. I don't recommend keeping yourself in poverty for 10 years just to avoid taxes. So that's options 2 and 3. Option 4 is if it's over the $50,000, then you have to go through the manual process of getting on a payment plan. Option 5 is don't do anything and just pay as you go. And you'll get letters every month saying, hey, your additional interest is now this and total amount is now that. And that's the highest hassle way to go because you'll keep getting these letters and you'll keep making payments as you can, but it is a way to go. By and large, the vast majority of people who find themselves in that situation just need to get on a payment plan and just keep up to date with that. And you'll be on that 6-year plan trajectory. And just as long as you stay current with that, IRS is fine with it. Again, does not save you interest, but does save you. And the companies out there that do all the advertising for the offers and compromise and the non-collectible stuff, they'll charge you, I don't know, $3,000, $5,000 to do it. And to be fair, it's a lot of work. So I don't actually begrudge them that, but the things that they advertise are not typical situations. Most people who submit offers and compromise get rejected because the numbers don't support it. And that's just how it is. We had somebody last year, the year before, there's a married couple, between the two of them, their W-2s were $300,000. It's, hey, can we put in an offer and compromise? I said, no, you can't.
I remember that.
Because you make too much money. So they're just not going to sell. You could put one in, they'll just say no. And that's it. So let's not waste our time. The fact that you didn't do good withholding is your problem, fundamentally. So you want to work with I guess the big takeaway of all this is that as things happen, you want to work with your tax professional, whether it's us or somebody else. You want to work with your tax professional in order to establish what is going on tax-wise. How does this hit you or help you or whatever? And then so by the time you get to the end of the year, there's no surprises, right? That when I talk about four-step process, a lot of times I talk about tax peace. And the peace comes from not the fact that I don't owe anything ever. It comes from the fact that I have my expectations matches reality. And so there's no nasty surprises at the end of the year. Oh, I think I'm going to pay $15,000 and I pay $14,872, whatever the numbers are. So that as you go through the year, then you adjust and adjust. And so that by the time everything is done, then everything is as we expect. So that's really the goal. And if you only have one job, you get a W-2 and there's nothing else going on, then as long as you have your holding set up, that should be fine. But if you have more complicated stuff, I've got investment income, I've got this real estate property, I have my own business, income's up and down, all these things require monitoring and maintenance, just like it. So that's what it comes down to. And that's what everything depends on. We were doing the books for a client. We brought on a new bookkeeper, Sammy, and he was saying, oh, I have this alimony payment. Did so-and-so get divorced? He was like, yeah, I called him up. He's paying alimony. So yeah, that's going to change things. All this stuff has an impact on your tax life. When you want to know what it depends on, become an explorer. And this is our group. It's free to sign up. You'll get our emails. You get access to the show. And more importantly, you get all of our tools, or some of our tools and courses are free for the explorers. Some have a small fee. If you join our navigators, which is our premium group, everything's included. And it's actually worth it to join the navigators instead of just the explorers if you want to buy any of the paid stuff. But there's plenty of free resources as well. My favorite one that I use all the time is the quick and dirty bookkeeping method. So it's an AI powered system where you upload bank statements and it'll actually categorize everything for you. Only works for simple situations. But if you have a simple little side business or sole proprietorship or something like that, works great. And then you take the output from that, put it into a pre-formatted sheet that I provide for you, and it'll create a profit and loss by month. And it takes 5 minutes to do 1 month's worth of bookkeeping, if that situation applies to you. Because again, it depends. It's not going to book assets. It's not going to book liabilities. It's not going to book accruals or anything like that. But if it's just cash in, cash out, which is what most small businesses do, works great.